Steven Universe Season 5 ended. What? Look, if Cartoon Network can take 2 years to air a season, I can take 2 months to make a video. Yes, folks, that's right. It's finally time to talk about Steven Universe Season 5. And frankly, I was starting to doubt if this day would ever come. I mean, I'm officially out of jokes about the release schedule of this freaking show, but still, it feels great to be back to these top 10s. And in all seriousness, I really am sorry that it took me a while to get around to this video, but life has been busy and yada yada yada. And of course, you guys know the drill by now. There are spoilers, of course, this is a moments list and not an episodes list, and these are just my own personal favorites, so try not to scream like a banshee at anything you disagree with. Just go harass the crew on Twitter or something. Seems like that's the latest trend. But with that said, top 10 Steven Universe Season 5 moments, here we go! Poor Sadie. She already didn't exactly like her job, but doing it alone now that her rude deadbeat slacker coworker that constantly stiffed her anyway is gone is clearly even worse on her. Why does she miss him again? Anyway, when Steven ropes her into joining him for band practice with Buck, Sour Cream and Jenny, a little bit of magic happens once they stumble upon her horror movie collection.
Hey, is that the Lurch? You know this one? Yeah, it's a classic! I can't believe you have a copy!
What? Oh, come on! Where were these chicks when I was getting into this stuff? Stupid cartoon people with better lives than me. Anyway, inspired by the film's soundtrack, the gang ends up with a strange horror grunge style that Sadie uses to vent her stress about work, creating the awesomeness that is Sadie Killer, and the equally awesome song, The Working Dead.
Oh, we are the working dead, and we lurch for minimum wage, but I'd really rather be eating your brain.
I've always really liked Sadie, so it's been super disheartening to watch her be so dissatisfied with her job and not even being able to enjoy singing because she felt her mom would take over if she did. So all of this is a real treat for me. Basically, I find this mini-arc of Sadie finding something more fulfilling to do and breaking away from mind-numbing routine to be one of the best things to happen to her character. And it helps that the songs are hilariously cheesy on top of it.
Why can't you see me? I think I might be a ghost.
Plus, Barb gets to grow a bit along with her, and it gives Greg more chances to show what a great guy he is. It's good times all around.
Oh, we are the working dead, and we lurch for minimum wage.
Okay, so I think we can all agree that Season 4 ended on a pretty tense note. An innocent side comment by Steven like 2 seasons ago caused everyone he cared about to be attacked. He had to give himself up to the Diamond Authority. Lars got kidnapped and dragged along with him. It was a tense time to be a fan, man. But it was exciting too. I mean, we were gonna see the diamonds again. We were gonna see what Homeworld was like. Or, well, not quite yet. What we got was exactly what we should have expected. Seeing our hero get locked up and prosecuted, and only catching glimpses of an alien civilization as he's accused of charges he can barely understand. Nothing but a dark room, 2 powerful beings that loathe him and their word against his. Honestly, I thought this was kind of genius when I first saw it. What better way to put the audience in Steven's shoes than to take everything away but the confrontation itself? And then there's the actual trial, which was a hoot of its own. There's just so much going on here. First of all, I love the Zircon's designs. There's the other terror of Steven being alone with 2 diamonds for the first time. There's Eyeball reappearing. And of course then there's seeing Blue Diamond being actually pretty scary for the first time in a while.
I want to hear her make her case. I want to know what she thinks we're going to do with her. Because I want to do something worse.
Jeez, man. Yeah, remember, this was before we knew a couple of key things about Rose. So Blue was furious and it was terrifying. And of course, the real reason to love this episode, watching Blue Zircon put the pieces together, gaining more and more confidence as she does, and asking the questions nobody had given enough thought. It's an incredibly tense scene, and it helps start the season off at a high point for me. Great stuff.
Case closed.
If you've been watching all of these videos, you might remember that one of my favorite episodes way back in season 3 was Bismuth. It was a tense episode about warring ideologies, and one of our first big instances of showing the negative effects of some of Rose's decisions, after we had spent about 2 seasons building her up as some manner of perfect saint. And while she got defeated and bubbled at the end, we definitely all waited for when we would see Bismuth again. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't exactly expecting her return to be as nonchalant as it is.
Oh, it's just there's so many old friends who won't be able to come. All the crystal gems who are corrupted and bubbled in the basement.
And this time, other than some initial confusion, there's no violence. There's just Steven and Bismuth communicating openly and honestly. You know, the one thing she and Rose never did. And all of this happened because after a big reveal that shook everybody up a bit, Steven just wanted as many of his family figures to be as happy as possible on a special day. Bismuth wasn't woken up because of some looming threat or because they needed information. She was just woken up because she deserved happiness and closure as much as everybody else. It's an adorable end to one of the most dramatic character arcs of seasons past, and I really appreciate that it was brought up when and how it was.
These aren't weapons, but Steven seemed to think they'd come in handy.
We love them!
So, hey, can we all just agree that Greg is a great character? For all the things about him that would make him an easy target on any other show, Greg is never shown to be anything less than a great and supportive parent to Steven, doing all in his power to deal with an extraordinary situation for the sake of his son. Never mind that in a lot of ways he's a failed musician living in a van, or that the Gems didn't think very highly of him at first. Greg is top tier cartoon dad, and nothing you can say will convince me otherwise. Now, granted, he can't exactly do much in the face of this whole gem war thing, but when it comes to supporting Steven, he is a boss. And one of Greg's best moments this season was him stepping in during the time when Connie wasn't talking to Steven after his stint on Homeworld. Oh, I mean, the Gems try their best, but they end up making the mistake of defaulting to mentor roles that don't apply to the situation. And when Steven finally admits what's wrong...
Steven!
I'll go get him. I don't know anything about Homeworld, but I know about this.
Look at that confidence! This man is a total mess when it comes to the whole space war thing, but as soon as it's about supporting his boy, he's all over it. He knows he can help, and he knows that Steven will eventually be fine.
You'll get through this, buddy. I know it hurts now, but give it time.
Look, I realize I'm being very sappy right now, but think about this. Cartoons have a really bad habit of always portraying dads as total buffoons. And yet, here, in a show where the main character has 3 literal space rocks for mother figures, the real rock in his life is his dad, no matter how much of a mess he appears to be at first glance. And I love that. Alright, everybody. It's time to talk about Lars. Again, if you've been following these videos, you know that I've been sort of sticking up for Lars since day one. Or, well, not that I defend his behavior, he's definitely been an absolute prick on occasion, but I always suspected there were deeper reasons for it. And as season 4 progressed, we finally got some peeks at the deep-rooted anxieties that fuel some of his more obnoxious traits. So when the finale came and he got dragged off into space, I was convinced this would give him some much-needed character growth. And sure enough, before I knew it, he... Oh! Yeah. I'm still not quite sure about this whole situation. But let's rewind for a bit and look at how he ended up that way. I'm talking about when he and Steven ran from the trial and met the off-colors. Now, try to consider all of this from Lars' perspective for a moment. He's a completely normal young man who's stuck on an alien planet immediately after failing to stick up for his best friend in a crisis due to his own personal shortcomings. He's stuck smack in the middle of a conflict he has no part of and can barely understand. By all accounts, he has every right to be terrified and focused on his own safety. And yet, when he meets the off-colors, gets the first real personal bit of understanding of the situation he's ever had, and realizes that he can fight back against the Diamond Authority spy drones in ways they can't, what does he do?
Eat this!
I do not care how much you dislike Lars before. Look, do I think some of his earlier episodes should have built this up a little bit more? Yeah, I kinda do. Do I think some of his behavior earlier in the show was really shitty? Oh, definitely. Do I wish this character growth had happened a little sooner? Absolutely. But still, we went from this guy...
I knew if something went wrong today, it would be because of you. Now I'm never going to be friends with these guys. All because of your weird mom.
To this guy.
Don't argue with me. You're always trying to help me. You brought me back to life. Just let me be somebody who deserved it.
This whole thing is kinda weird, but seeing him finally fight for something, acknowledge his flaws, and vow to better them, that was amazing. And I like to consider it well worth the wait. Hey, you, yeah, psst, come here. You wanna know a secret? Rose was Pink Diamond the whole time. Yeah, that's hardly a spoiler anymore, but that really was a major curveball to throw in the show, regardless of whether or not a viewer might have predicted it. There's a reason it became the prime subject of conversation for the whole season. It definitely colors all the show's events in a fairly different light. I kind of wonder how some scenes would have turned out if we'd known this earlier.
This is where it happened. Where she was broken.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I'm surprised that a human being is capable of understanding how I feel.
She was a great lay, though. Oh god, not again! So yeah, this is kind of an odd entry, because while the scene showing us the event unfold is definitely good, what really makes it a favorite moment of mine is less the scene itself, and more the absolute avalanche of feelings, realizations, theories, and alternate character interpretations that it spawned. It wasn't something that was impossible to figure out, but it gave the audience a different outlook on the entire series up till that point. And that's not something that can be ignored. Okay, so this one actually takes place at the same time as the last entry, and I know a lot of you are gonna say that I should switch them around. But look, this is my list, and sometimes I just like it when things are visually interesting even more than I do plot development. And that is the case with A Single Pale Rose. Sure, we have that huge bombshell at the end, and that's amazing. But it's not so much that scene I think back to when I think of that episode. It's really more the journey through Pearl's mindscape. Now, I have made it no secret that Pearl is my favorite character. Especially back when she was wearing... Okay, I get it. Joke's getting old. I can take a hint, I get it. Besides, the new jacket look is just... Holy shit! But seriously, just seeing all these aspects of her personality laid out in visual detail as we go layer by layer into her mind is so much fun. For varying definitions of fun, I mean. From organized neat freak Pearl with a naughty streak, to heartbroken Pearl, to traumatized Pearl. I don't know, man, I just like this approach to the episode, and to the idea of Pearl deliberately letting Steven pick her brain to find the answers he and the viewers were looking for and that she couldn't give. It's just a great episode all around, man. What can I say? Oh, sweet, this one is a Stevani episode. Oh, those are always a fun treat, aren't they? So, what misadventures is it this time? Are they gonna go on another road race? Are they gonna fuck over Kevin again? Ooh, maybe they'll finally try explaining Stevani to Priyanka. Or they can get lost on a deserted jungle moon for days and struggle to survive the entire time. That's an option. Yeah, this was a different one, but I really liked the episode. Stevani looks badass with the new jacket look, the moon and all its creatures themselves look utterly gorgeous, the survival struggles are intense. But like in some kind of Nightmare on Elm Street movie, things start to get really interesting once they fall asleep.
There'll be no more excuses. Get it done. And don't expect me to look kindly upon this transgression. Embark at once.
Mom?
Oh, I get it. We're exploring how Connie sees her mom as a looming presence in her life and fails to acknowledge her. That's pretty neat, and that was a UFO. Why is she Yellow Diamond all of a sudden? Why does Devani start acting like a bratty 8-year-old? Why is... What a great dream scene. It lulls us in with a familiar theme, leaving us just enough to show that there's more to it, and once the true purpose of the dream reveals itself, it gives us just as many questions as it does answers. This is how you do dream foreshadowing, folks. Like I said, I just like it when things get told in a visually interesting way. And this was one of the better ones. The finale was great. Never mind the nearly 2 years of waiting. We got everything we wanted, as well as a Watermelon Steven segment that didn't really need to be a full episode, and then some. Reforming diamonds, all our questions about why Diamond answered, a full-on badass battle, new fusions, all heroes entering the fray. But for all the cool fighting and gym madness, I think we all know which moment stood out the most to pretty much everybody.
What did you say? Answer me!
She's gone!
And if that wasn't enough, we have Steven refusing with himself in a glorious moment animated by Disney legend James Baxter. I mean, just look at it. The animation speaks for itself. So if this moment is so important and took so many people by storm, why is it in the #1 spot? Believe me, it's not that I don't consider it important or interesting or emotional enough to deserve it. It's more that I don't think this is my moment to put on top. Let me explain what I mean. I'm sure most of us can appreciate the themes of rejecting an identity others are forcing on you and seeking acceptance of the identity you choose for yourself, at least in some shape or form. But there is no doubt that this moment speaks especially strongly to the LGBTQ+ community, among whom there are many who can relate to it on a much more personal level. And to which I don't belong. Steven's refusion and acceptance of himself is something I can only imagine will speak especially clearly to many of these people, and I don't want to sit here and pretend that I can speak for them on an issue that I will never truly be capable of understanding. So, again, I don't really think I'm the one who should give it a #1 spot. This, along with many of the series' themes and defining moments, is yours to praise or condemn much more than it is mine. After all, I'm not the target here. I'm just some dope with a camera on YouTube who likes cartoons. What I can say is that from my perspective, I appreciate the gesture from the Crewniverse and Cartoon Network to present these things and hopefully pave the way for more accepting times and give many people the reassurance and representation they need and deserve. All the best to all of you guys, from Steven and from me. And besides, my #1 spot is one I think everybody can, or at least should, appreciate on equal footing. But before we get to that, let's have a few honorable mentions. Two words. Ass ship. If Priyanka's face seeing that thing isn't a gutbuster, I don't know what the hell is. Okay, this episode was funny and all, but it became a favorite just for this line.
I want to adopt this one. There's something about her.
Really? Is that a probable future?
It is now. Besides, I've missed having someone cute and vulnerable to take care of. I think I'll call her Steven.
Aw, Garnet is realizing that her baby is all grown up. Aw, if that's not sweet, nothing is. Watching Ruby act like a cowboy for a solid 10 minutes was freaking hilarious. I had to bring that one up. Although we all know the real reason people love this episode.
Sapphire, will you marry me?
And finally, my favorite moment is... the wedding.
There's an awful lot of awful things we could be thinking of, but for just one day, let's only think about love.
Yes, before you begin, I know it's another song in the #1 spot, but it's not so much the song this time. It's the entire scenario. The obvious awesomeness of Cartoon Network putting this wedding on screen aside, I just really appreciate the sense of progression from the wedding itself. From Steven prancing around being super excited about it, to the simple ceremony, to everyone being their wacky gem selves, it's one of those moments where you realize how far the show has come. How much has changed since the beginning. In that way, it's a lot like the Not Really Thanksgiving dinner episode. It's an episode of reflection and appreciation for everyone's growth. And as Steven puts it, what made all of that possible was, pure and simply, love. I like to think that this is a fairly universal moment that everybody can appreciate. And then everything goes fucking apeshit! Before we know it, Blue and Yellow Diamond are on Earth, and the rest of the episode is a fantastic smackdown with everyone involved. Like, holy crap, look at all this stuff. What, you were worried there'd be no action? Here's your action! And also, there's this absolute gem.
Blue Diamond.
Guess it's time to work the old universe charm.
No!
Alright, I'll just be in here.
Okay, D&D players in the audience, back me up on this one. This is a perfect summary of what every single encounter looks like when you have a bard in the party. The wedding was a milestone and a celebration of where kindness can lead you. And I had a huge goofy grin on my face during the whole thing for many, many different reasons. What a trip. And that's it. That's season 5 finally covered. And for now, it looks like it's going to be the last Steven Universe video I make. At least until the TV movie rolls around. Oh, and season 6, like, seriously, is there going to be a season 6? Does anybody know? Because every time I look it up, I feel like I get 5 different answers. Either way, I really want to thank you all for watching my stuff, and for sticking around all the way through a season 5 countdown. These have been a lot of fun to make, but I have tons of other stuff to goof around and talk about in the future. So I'll just look forward to seeing you all in the next video. Bye for now, everybody. Whew! Boy, better late than never, right? Seriously though, I am sorry it took so long to make this video, but all the same, thank you so much for watching, especially if you have stuck around since the season 1 countdown. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. And if you'd like to show your own appreciation of this video, please press the like button and leave a comment about some of your own favorite moments of the season or your hopes for the future. It really helps me out. Oh, and speaking of appreciation, I would like to thank Keith McRae, Warren Miller, Silvermoon Ravenwolf, and all my other patrons for their support. You guys are awesome. And if you'd like to support me too, you can find a Patreon link in the description below, and for just a small monthly donation, you can see preview clips and get early access to some of my other projects, such as this comic I'm making. Again, link is in the description. And finally, if this is somehow your first video on my channel, don't forget to hit subscribe for more reviews, top 10s, and other crazy goodness in the future. Thanks once again, and bye for now!